Hey crew, I've got the key to this Lamborghini Revuelto, and today we're going to see what it's like to live with. I'm going to start by unplugging it from where I had it charging up overnight, even though it really only needs about 30 to 60 minutes to top up its smallish battery. And now let's go take a look at spacing in my driveway, which is 16 feet wide by 19 and a half feet long. You know what? I really do need another vehicle here, and because I slept in for the first time in like 5 years, Mobile Mama's review car is not here. What to do? Ooh. Let's bring the demon out of the dark. Well, it's a good thing I slept in late, because that would surely wake the neighborhood. There we go. Now we've got the frame of reference for the driveway spacing. And the Revuelto is parked just about an inch or so from the edge, and my Demon 170 is parked also very close to the edge. And still, that is enough room to fit a wagon through. And the back of the Revuelto is parked right before the gutter at the front of the driveway, and that still leaves plenty of room at the front to walk along the path to my front door. Oh man, this is a tragic sight. I did have to deflate the Bluey family just so I could get in to the Revuelto. And after opening that scissor door and sneaking on by, I can lower myself down onto the sill and then scoot my butt over into the chair. Grabbing the handle, so easy to pull that door down. Hello cabin crew, thanks for joining for this day in the life in the Lamborghini Revuelto. Now in this video I want to see if Lamborghini's new Halo model with the plug is easier to live with than their old one, the Aventador. And already it was easier to get into this car than the last Aventador I drove, the Ultimate. I hit my head on that roof all the time, being sandwiched into the cabin. This was better. Now let me show you where I would stick the items I bring with me every day, like my smartphone, which can go on this pad right here, and the key fob could stay in my pocket, or it can go in this dedicated slot right in front of the ignition button. There is no console, but my GoPro accessories can fit on top of this rubberized pad, and they don't really move around. Now I didn't have room for my 32-ounce water bottle to fit anywhere inside the cabin, but with this single-use bottle, I can deploy the hidden cup holders, one for the driver and one for the passenger, and it does fit just like so. Now it's time to fire up the Revuelto, and one of the only things that could be louder than a supercharged V8 on startup would be a naturally aspirated V12. But we're not going to hear any of that because it starts off as an EV. And so that means even if this was an early morning, I could start this car and leave my neighborhood without disturbing anyone. And as I back up here, I'll point out I do have some curb ramps set up to help with the clearance issue of the gutter in front of my driveway, but I wouldn't have to worry too much about scraping this car because there is a front end lift right here and it's already been pitched up. Is that for us?
Yes, it is. There you go, sir.
You have a good day.
You too. I like your Lambo.
Just reviewing it. It's not mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's fun for the day though.
I bet.
Now after I put on my seatbelts, I'm going to pull up on this lever to go into reverse and then back it on out slowly. Dipping down and then over those curb ramps. I do like the resolution of this backup camera with the bird's eye view and the trajectory lines. There's some scraping, rubbing rather, of the tire within the wheel well. And then to go into drive, I pull on the right paddle. As I turn the wheel, here's some more rubbing, but we're good to go. I've now been able to leave my neighborhood silently on electric power alone, but I can't carry on this way for very long because the Revuelto is only EPA rated at 5 miles of all electric range. So it's not very long before that gas engine does trigger on. Maybe you can make it to the highway from your door, maybe not, but ultimately for the health of the engine, you're going to want to trigger on the V12 anyway, so you're not bringing it to life under load. You're just getting it warm while you're making your way around town. So I'm going to do that right now by just turning the drive mode dial from city to Strata. And that does mean you do need to ready yourself for that transition to take place. But if I was going to live with this car, I wouldn't want to forget for too long that I was driving a 1,000 horsepower supercar, and the V12 kind of reminds you of that. And when the engine is warmed up at least a little bit, it's not obnoxiously loud, so you can hear your own thoughts as you're meandering around town. That's not to say the Revuelto is the most chill of commuters, because the ride quality, even in the softer of the two suspension settings, you've got soft and hard for the dampening, the soft setting still does keep the vehicle very firm, and you move with the undulations of the surface. It's not punishing, but it is true to its supercar nature. It does have seat heating. You just have to find it in the climate menu. Sometimes the screen doesn't always want to respond. So you do that, then nope, that's the fan adjustment. Sorry, you swipe over, then you turn on the seat heater in one of 3 stages. I feel like that could be solved with just a button somewhere, but you know what? I understand for form factor, this is better. And the seats themselves are reasonably comfortable. The padding is a little on the firm side, but the shape is ergonomic. It fits my body type very well. And at 6 feet tall with a longer torso, my head still clears the roof by at least another inch. And the manually adjusting wheel is easy to place in just the perfect spot for my hands to rest. And the wheel itself looks very complicated, but actually for daily driving, it's super simple. I don't need to interact with all these different rotors. I just concern myself with the drive mode, that's the upper red rotor, or the electric vehicle mode, which you can go into hybrid. I can go into EV mode if there is charge in the battery, or if there isn't, I can switch to recharge, which quickly replenishes that battery because it's so small. So if you're on your way home and you do want to make your approach, again, silently in EV mode, you just go into recharge for a few minutes and it'll top up that battery. I already showed you the damper adjustment here. You shouldn't really need to mess with that for daily driving. Just leave it in soft. And then this last one off to the right-hand side, this is for the adjustments of the rear wing. If you want to show off, I suppose, you can bring it up, but for the most part, you'll just leave it back down. And beyond all these calibrations, almost every other thing you'll need to interact with on a daily basis is found here on the wheel. I mean, your window switches are here on the driver's side, no longer here in the center like in the Aventador. And of course, your reverse gear and park are found here, but everything else is right here on the wheel. You want to use the turn signals. That's a button here on the left-hand side. You want to set your high beams. That's also here. The windshield wipers, flick that on with one switch, and the adjustment of the display is also here at a button press. I love it because it keeps my hand on the wheel more. It's less distracting and it just feels more immersive. And I showed it briefly, but let's listen for the turn signal sound. I don't mind it. It's very German, which is appropriate given the ownership of Lamborghini. And what about the turning radius? Wheel cranked. Oh yeah. When the rear wheel steering checks in, that turning radius becomes excellent, which is helpful because you don't want to misjudge a turn in something costing $700,000. Now, I did mention you may want to have the spoiler down while you're driving around town, and that's not because you might be conscientious of flashiness. You bought a Lamborghini Revuelto. People are going to be looking at you and you're aware of it. It's more because the visibility out the back, really out anywhere in this car, is somewhat compromised. So if you do have the spoiler up, then your narrow view out that channel in the back is made a little bit worse. The view out the sides is inhibited a little by the fact that the windows are on the stubbier side, so if you sit up high like I do, you're staring at the pillar when you look over. And then the blind spot comes into play, starting at the headrest and going all the way back to where the rear view mirror comes in. Then if you are, again, taller like I am, looking out the front, you may not be able to see stoplights, so you have to duck down and sometimes dip forward to see them. But despite all of that, I know this Revuelto is easier to see out of and feels more spacious than the old Aventador. That car felt like a tiny little box. This one is a slightly larger box with holes in it. Because I slept in this morning, I missed out on breakfast, but I still really want breakfast food, so I'm gonna get a breakfast burrito from the best spot in OC, Nate's Corner. Because I can't see the curb in front, I'm very thankful for this low mounted camera and those parking sensors. There we go. Let's go get a burrito. The magic moment is upon us. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm gonna need a minute. So filling, so very good. Now, oh gosh, I almost forgot. The guys from Throttle House are supposed to be reviewing my Demon 170 today. I really need to get home so I can bring them the car. In the driveway, hop into the Demon. Have a little fun along the way. And arrive just a few minutes late. How you guys doing?
We're doing great.
Yeah?
Thanks, man. This is.
Where's your hat camera?
I know, you told me how to do it.
Oh, you got it. Old school. I got it. Yeah. You know, everyone's with the POV now.
In the past.
Yeah. All right, James. I just want you to do me the honors. Go ahead.
Becoming a PA.
Yeah. I want you to just try it on. Let me just help you with this. So you're gonna want the angle a little higher. We'll have to tighten the hat for you, but yeah, that's the life.
This is it.
Now, while the Throttle House team does their thing, it was so nice of them to bring along this Cullinan with these tailgate leather seats for me to have a perched view of the production. Yesterday was fun, seeing James and Thomas do their thing, and today I want to check out the performance and practicality of this car, but not before I get a cup of coffee. And because it's bound to happen at some point where a Lamborghini owner would go through a drive-thru, I'm going to get my coffee at this Starbucks drive-thru, provided I'm not hit on my way in.
Hi, thank you for coming to Starbucks today. Can I get your name and start your order?
It's Miles.
Hi, Miles. How are you?
Doing well, how are you?
I'm doing well, too. Thanks for asking. What can we get started for you today, Miles?
Can I please get a grande decaf iced latte?
You got it.
And I saw the turning radius yesterday, but just to show it off again, this is a tighter turn, but the Revuelto is going to make it no problem. And in preparation for receiving my coffee, I've moved my water bottle to the passenger side, so there's room here. Now, since I am sitting here, it is worth mentioning that you are gonna have to keep your foot on the brake regardless of the length of your stay, because there isn't an auto hold function. Gotta do without sometimes in a supercar.
Oh my goodness, you're like Batman.
Batman?
I just couldn't see your face.
I know, and I'm in an all-black Lamborghini, yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's so good. I feel like I don't know if I would be more terrified or like less terrified to drive in that. Because I've also been on like trucks where like you're high up.
Yes,
like,
they're dangerous both ways. This one has a front end lift, so you can clear like driveways and curbs and things. I review cars, so I'm reviewing this car. It's not mine.
okay, let's show. Okay, you enjoy
Thank you so much. Have a good day. You hear that? She thinks I'm Batman. I'm so far from that. And Batman's gonna need to use that front end lift to make sure that I don't scrape on my way out of here. That's just tire. But if you needed further evidence that I can't possibly be Batman beyond my lack of cool, there's no way that the Dark Knight drinks decaf coffee. Returning to that drive-through experience for just a second here, if you are gonna go through like Batman in your very low Revuelto, you will have to do like I did, scrunch all the way down for you and the attendant to actually see one another, and then they are gonna have to reach really far down and you're gonna have to reach really far up for the exchange of money and goods. Now I'm on my way to a good driving road to get into the performance of the Revuelto. On my way there though, as you can see, there is going to be a little bit of traffic. Thankfully, in this car, you do have features like adaptive cruise control. So I can set that, adjust my following distance. It is going to maintain the gap to the vehicle in front of me. I don't have to touch the throttle and brake. And so if you were gonna commute in your $700,000 supercar, you could do so on the highway without too much difficulty. And then while in theory there's also a lane keep assist system which will ping pong you back into your lane if you start to depart it, that is only working when those markers are green on the side, and they've been going green to white. As you can see, it just kind of flicks on and off randomly. There's no rhyme or reason to when it's picking them up. They're just as clear now as they are in 2 seconds from now when they're not showing up. So I can't even show you how, but you are going to be corrected when they're green if you just start to depart your lane. But whether it's working or not, do not rely on that to keep you in your lane. This is a far cry from a hands-free driving system. You always need to pay attention when driving your Lamborghini. I am really getting tired of sitting behind this truck though, so I'm gonna see about the passing power in the Revuelto. I've gone to Sport, just gonna put my foot down, change lanes. Okay. Yeah, and one more time. Yeah. You've got passing power. And when you've had your fun passing and you've settled into your commuter pace on the highway, how loud will it be inside this cabin? Let me quiet up and listen in. Well, the answer is decently loud. I hear the outside vehicles. I hear tire noise. I hear road noise. Not much in the way of wind noise. I mean, this is a very aerodynamic car. That makes sense. But you are going to have to raise your voice a little bit to have a conversation with your fellow passenger, even if they're just 10 inches away from your face. But the V12 is quiet. I just barely hear the sound of the lifters when I'm at partial throttle. Overall, I think I could deal with this. It wouldn't be my preferred commuter vehicle, but if I wanted to take a longer drive somewhere with good roads and good scenery, this is manageable. For whatever length of time you're going to be in this seat, if you're not punching it with that V12 and listening and enjoying that, then you are going to want to listen to something else. So let's hear the standard sound system in this Revuelto when I access it via the wireless Apple CarPlay. And the screen's responsiveness is hit or miss. Sometimes it's quick, sometimes it's not. There we go. And I turn up the volume via these buttons on the back of the wheel, back up to 70. A little more, maybe 75, 80. You may need to pay for an upgrade for that one. Quick detour of thought. I want to come back to this ride quality because yesterday I was saying, you know, it's bouncy and it can be a little bit firm. But the more time I've spent beyond this wheel, while it does, yes, stay firm and bouncy around the road, the dampeners have proven to be so good at keeping the harshness of that road from really disturbing me as the driver. Even if I am bopping, I'm not worn out by it. Okay. It's time for fun. I'm ready for a real-world 0 to 60 test. I've got my race box set up here to record. I'm in the Corsa drive mode. I'm pressing this in for thrust mode, holding my foot on the brake, ping the throttle, building it up. It's ready, letting go. Oh! 60 in 2.55 seconds. Kick like bull. Oh boy. It was brought to my attention by the Throttle House guys when I came to see him again that I did not do that 0 to 60 properly, the full thrust mode with the full power, because even though I went into the Corsa drive mode, I didn't go into the performance hybrid mode. That gives you the full 1001 horsepower. And so that means that I have to do it again. Oh, this is so hard for me. So here we go. Corsa and performance hybrid, then thrust mode. Foot on the brake, pin the throttle, build it up, it's ready. There's 60 in 2.43 seconds. Are you kidding me? No, that's actually ridiculous. The acceleration of this car is monumental. And it carries through the curves viciously fast. So planted. The 8-speed dual clutch shifts rapidly, and you've got great access to it through these manual paddles. Large carbon fiber, great action. Carbon ceramic brakes have stupendous stopping power. The turn-in is immediate. You just grace the wheel and it hucks into the curve. And then the rear wheel steering at the back brings along the rest of the car. What What a machine. And considering how agreeable it just was on the road, this is extra special, extra impressive. The grip is just phenomenal from this all-wheel drive. And the wail of that V12 all the way out to its 9,300 RPM redline is transcending. Going so quickly in this car, and it's so controllable. It's visceral, but it's approachable. And it's nothing if not intoxicating. And I would love to do this all day, but unfortunately, the V12 is thirsty, and that performance has got me down to 1/8 of a tank. So I'm gonna make my way to a fuel station. Yes, I think I'm gonna make it. That's good. I don't want to stall out in the Revuelto. All right, let's talk about fuel economy. So the EPA rates this car at 12 MPG combined, but if you factor in the electric motors and the battery pack, then it would be 23 MPG equivalent. However, over the last 200 and almost 40 miles, I've seen just 8 miles per gallon. But that doesn't necessarily mean you'll be here at the fuel station all the time, because Lamborghini gave this car a 22.5 gallon fuel tank. So if you saw 12 miles per gallon, then you'd get 270 miles on a tank. If you saw the 23, which you won't, then you'd have over 500 miles on a tank. Unfortunately, those fuel stops are not going to be cheap, because here in Southern California, the current fuel prices of 91 octane gas is $5.09 per gallon. So to fill the Revuelto, capless fueling, it's gonna cost me $115. Today, I've got just 2 things on the agenda: getting groceries and hitting the sticks. But I can't do anything else until I test this horn. What if someone cuts me off in the Revuelto? I'm gonna have to use this. What are they gonna hear? Oh, well, crass. They'll be startled. Now I can get some groceries here at Sprouts. Oh boy, it was a full trip today. So let's see if this is all going to fit in the frunk. Wow, this area is actually really good sized. It doesn't even require much Tetrising to get all of these bags to fit. Well, it looks like the Revuelto is in fact grocery store approved. All right, it's time for golf. But the question is, how am I bringing my clubs? Well, after I move the driver's seat forward a bit and the passenger seat, then there's actually enough room to sneak one set of clubs behind the seats. And though that does mean my seating position isn't exactly where I had it, this still isn't bad. Now I just have to wait here for my buddy Logan to come join. All right, Logan.
Yes,
try
sir.
to get in the car.
This is going to be embarrassing?
Yeah, no, it's great.
There's something here. It feels like it's the right spot.
You're getting warmer.
Got it.
Okay, now get in.
Okay.
Was that pretty easy for you? I mean, after you found out how the door opened, to get in?
Solid. This bad boy can handle it.
Excellent. This bad boy being you. Because the
correct.
car could handle it. It's whether you could handle the car.
Yeah, I'm still intimidated by the car, to be honest.
Well, also, I think the missile-style launcher is also intimidating.
Uh-huh.
It's great that you don't have golf clubs.
Yeah.
Because we don't have room for your golf clubs and mine. We're going to share.
I don't know why this is over here. But
It's for you. That display is for you.
it's just for pure enjoyment.
Yeah. So you see how much charge is left in the battery. You see your speed right here.
Yeah.
What mode we're in.
Yeah.
And if I change up the mode, let's say just do this. Go into Strata. Oh,
Jesus Christ.
did that startle you?
A little bit.
It did for me too. The first time that came out, I was like, oh, we've got a V12. So now you can see we're in first gear. That's to make you feel like you're part of the experience, even though you have zero control right now.
Interesting.
With the clubs behind you, though, are you still comfortable?
Honestly, I think so. Yeah. I feel comfortable.
Seats are good, right?
Yeah, seats are good.
Your head clears.
Head clears.
Your legs are, well, they're a little bunched up.
It's okay.
A little bunched
My
up.
knees are higher than my hips.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, just a thing in here.
That's the sports car experience.
Yeah.
It's you getting as low down as possible, having the knees up tight.
These aren't as, like,
Yeah.
as some of the other ones
Right.
that I've been in.
Does this cabin feel special to you?
I think so.
Yeah. What about it feels special?
I was going to say the Batman thing, I feel like I keep coming back to.
Yeah.
It's because maybe I have a lack of imagination.
Well, that's true, but I think you can have a lack of imagination and still be impressed by the car.
Lots of carbon fiber.
Yeah.
Fiber?
There's at least fiver to sixers of carbon fiber in
fibers.
here, yeah.
Yeah. That's like a special car term that nobody quite knows about.
No, yeah.
But if
you have
know,
to be
you know.
really in the know with the cars.
If you know, you
to know about the carbon fibers. It's probably feeling more special to me because I, of course, have the steering wheel, but I've got my own little gauge. I've got these big carbon fiber paddles. And then, of course, there is the fact that it's a 1,001 horsepower supercar. That's
just over.
That's also, yes.
Just
they
over
just
1,000.
cracked that 1,001. But it also, I like the symmetry, the 1001.
Yeah.
And we talk in binary code anyway, so I think you understood what that means. 11010.
Yeah, it's not a sit and chit chat car though, because it feels like it's very much about listening to the.
It isn't.
The
you
engine.
are correct. Yeah, when the engine is making.
My voice is gonna have to go up as the engine noise goes
Yes,
up.
when the engine noise goes up, we start shouting at one another. Actually, we just stop talking.
But I feel pretty good talking at this noise level.
Not that you do normally. Not that our conversation is so enveloping that we couldn't just be quiet for a few moments and just listen to the car. We are now in the Corsa mode because that means two things. One, it's going to be a little more responsive. But two,
course.
It's course. Yes, of course. Well done to us. But also then I have manual control because I like any excuse to use these paddles. I feel cool.
Now I got a question for you.
No.
I've never
Go ahead.
used paddles before.
Yeah.
And
you've never been sorry. Yes.
Well, that's a different
That's
use
a
of
different
paddle.
topic, yeah, and that's why I should make the car louder again.
That's right.
Yes. There it is.
I feel again every time I do it's the blood leaves the body. I don't know. It's all in my feet.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's where it's supposed to be.
It's hard to
because then the moment I accelerate again, it will come back to your core. Ready? And now that the Revuelto has smacked you around a little bit,
That's right.
you ready to go smack some balls here at the tees?
I'm gonna do my best.
Okay, we've got our spot. But actually, before we get out,
Yes.
I need you to just rate these windshield wipers on a scale of... Logan's scale is 1 to 4. He never does 1 to 10. So rate these on a scale of 1 to 4.
Okay. Aggressive, wiping speed 4.
It's sheer chaos. Look over there.
Yeah.
It wants to wash not just the Revuelto's windows, but all of your neighbors' windows at the same time.
It's 60% into the other lane.
I'm going to use up more of this wiper fluid just because this is just a rain shower.
Yeah. A deluge.
Hey, but you know what? I think it's mostly working.
It's like when we were in high school, you used to be able to shoot your broken one back to the car behind you. That was how we used to mess with each other.
That's it on a $700,000 supercar. Lovely. We're still doing the same things we were doing in high school. Well, crew, at the beginning of this video, I pondered if Lamborghini's new flagship supercar was easier to live with than their old one. And after quality time spent behind the wheel, I can say without a doubt that this is a more convenient car than the Aventador. With a plug-in hybrid powertrain to enter and leave your neighborhood silently, a better ingress and egress to ease entry and exits, surprisingly docile ride quality over even blemished roads, comfortable seats, and better headroom and visibility all come together to make the Revuelto feel like a big upgrade for just about any drive. The V12 is still thirsty, the infotainment can be kind of laggy, and it's still kind of loud on the highway, but I'd put up with all these minor flaws to feel like both Bruce Wayne and a fighter pilot all bundled up into one. I hope you guys have enjoyed this day in the life, and I will see you again next time.